Greetings YouTube, my name is EeRocKK and I am a Star Wars fan. Quite specifically, I'm a lightsaber fan. Which is just as well, because I have another lightsaber review for you. Because I just got myself a new lightsaber from Ultrasabers. Now if you watched my previous video on the Dark Initiate LE4, you'll probably be looking at this going, hang on a minute, it's the exact same saber. Well, not exactly. It's another one of the same saber. And there is an explanation for this. So I'm going to give you a very quick rundown on this. Basically, as you know, Ultrasabers give a vast array of options for their sabers. Everything from the colour of your blade through to which pommel, which hilt style, all that sort of stuff. They also do a number of options internally, and that's the reason that I bought a new one. My original saber had Obsidian Lite. Basically there are two options if you want sound in an Ultrasaber. You have the full Obsidian and the Obsidian Lite. Now the Obsidian Lite is a bit cheaper, but it does have a couple of downsides. One of which is you're stuck with only the default sound. Which, in all fairness, is not a bad sound. It sounds pretty damn decent. But it does have an unfortunate downside. And the unfortunate downside is that whilst you can order it separately, if you buy a pre-made saber from them with Obsidian Lite, it ships with, I don't know if you can see it with the tape on there, but AAA battery system. Now, the problem is that's kind of a bit greedy on battery power. Which, if like me, you not only use it for cosplay, but also use it for heavy dueling, you're going to want something with a bit more battery life. And also because I found that you have the risk that the batteries will, during rigorous combat, can pop loose. Now the solution to that, as you probably saw, is you literally, as well as using the Velcro strap they supply, is to literally tape them in with electrical tape, which is what I did. Nevertheless, it still goes through very quickly for the battery life. So I wanted to get the battery unit replaced, and I knew that having sent my saber back for repair a little while back, I asked Ultrasabers, could you change from the AAAs to the rechargeable lithium-ion cells, and they quoted me parts plus labour to do that, and the labour costs were quite high, because apparently the space inside is slightly larger to allow for the different configuration of the power unit. So I knew I was going to have to buy a new hilt, and then I decided, well, if I'm doing, well, I wanted to get the same because I like the style of the Dark Initiate, as I've said before. I think there's something very simplistic and elegant about that. But, as well as doing that, I thought, well, if I'm doing that, I might as well get the full Obsidian, and more importantly, the Emerald driver, so it can do all the flash on clash and cool stuff, because my previous one doesn't have any flash on clash. The new one does. There are a couple of minor things externally. I ordered the new one with the basic pommel and then swapped it over for the Scorpion pommel, which I originally had. Also, the new one has, I ordered a medium grade blade, which I've swapped the blades over. So this is my old one, and this is the new one, and the new one has my original blade because it's all scuffed up, and my original pommel. The other difference between my old one and this, my new one, is no CoverTech clip. I basically had the CoverTech wheel installed, and I just decided I wasn't using it, so I thought there's no real point in having that on there. The other key difference between these two, I'll just get them both up. You may remember in my previous video I was talking about how I paid to have the button light up to match the lovely red of the saber. The new one doesn't have a light up button, it has a plain silver button. Now the reason for this is, aside from the fact that the light up button button is like an extra, I think it's $35. $25, $25, sorry. The light up button, even if you have full Obsidian with full Emerald driver support, which allows you to change your blade colour, change your flash and clash, and you can do that as regularly as you want, just plug your saber into your computer via USB. The light up button, right now, is not a changeable option. That whatever button colour you get, that is the colour of the button for the entire life of the saber. Now, knowing Ultrasabers, that will probably change. They'll probably bring something in for that, but right now, if you're going to get a light up button, that's fine on a single colour saber, but if you're thinking of changing the colour of your blade or whatever, it's probably not worth getting a light up button for an Obsidian saber with Emerald. Now the most important thing, obviously, is really to kind of make the differences known with the internals. So I'm going to turn this on in just a moment and you'll see my flash on clash colour. I set pulse up on this as well, so I don't know how well it's going to show because I've got a two-tone red pulse. And I've also installed a custom sound font because you can do that with the Obsidian soundboard. It comes with the, I think with 6 default fonts. I'm not a fan of all of the default ones provided. Plus, I'd seen one online. So I'm just going to go and reposition this camera and turn off the lights so we can appreciate the saber flash. And then you will see what I mean about this awesome blade colour and sound combination. So we're just going to move the camera to here. I'm probably going to crank this up a little bit as well, just so we've got a little bit more height. Yeah, you get to see my kitchen for once. It's not too messy at the moment, so that saves me an awkward embarrassment. I'm just going to try and turn some other lights off. In fact, I'm going to turn the lamp off as well so we get as much amount of... So I'm still in the dark at the moment, but hopefully... Now, I said this is not the default saber font. This is a custom Darth Vader font, in fact, by a forum user on the saber forums called Lord Vane. Now, I noticed this thanks to a YouTuber called EeRocKK, who does a load of the custom saber fonts. So he's done a full breakdown on this font. However, he did it with a concealer green saber. And let's face it, if you do a Darth Vader font, you kind of want it on a lovely, lovely red. Now, more importantly, is my flash on clash colour. This is a nice amethyst. Trying to twirl this with an injured finger, not so easy, but we'll make do. I do think it is noticeably more bright than the basic saber I had. That is a stock red, whereas this, you'll notice it more at the choke point of the vents, because I went for vents again, is, I don't know how well you're going to notice that in this video, but hopefully you'll notice that the shade of red does change. But yeah, Vader font. With that awesome flash on clash. Now, before I finish this video, I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison of the Obsidian font, the default Obsidian font on both, just so you can appreciate quite how that sounds. Between the stock saber and this one, because obviously if I take the pommel off on both of these we should be able to really notice the sound. And because I think there is a slight difference as well, not just in terms of customization, but I also think there is a slight difference generally on the full Obsidian rather than the Obsidian Lite. So I just need to switch this new saber back to the But yeah, that's the startup sound. You'll notice on EeRocKK's video he did of Darth Vane's font is that there is a version of the basic hum which has the Vader breathing all the way through the hum. It's kind of cool, but I went for just the static hum. But font users, much like Ultrasabers themselves, like to give you options. So, they are both now on the Obsidian font, or the default Obsidian font. Here is my original one. Here's ooh, whoops. Apparently I didn't confirm that. Always make sure you've confirmed your font. Right. Now that we have the same font on both sabers, let's try this again. So this is my original one. And this is the one with the full obsidian rather than the Obsidian Lite. Now, hopefully you can hear that. I think there is a bit more texture to that. There's a bit more of a bass line to that. So, it's very hard for me to say for certain if the speakers are any different, because the speakers look the same. Which, assuming those two are exactly the same speaker, which they do appear to be, more or less, then that difference is entirely based on the sound chip and the driver that's driving them. So, yeah, the full Obsidian driver does give you a slightly richer, more textured sound. So, my advice to people is, if you want a single colour and you're not so fussed, I mean, you can do Flash on Clash without having Emerald, but your colour choices are limited for red. That's the only thing there. But if you're going to get a saber with sound, if you're only going to have the one colour and you're not too fussed about custom sound fonts, the basic Obsidian Lite is fine. If, however, you want to play with all those cool options, which, believe me, sooner or later you probably will, it's worth paying to have the full Obsidian. It's worth that little bit extra. And I guess that's the moral of the story here, is I like this saber so much so that when I bought a new one I bought the same style saber. But what I should have done is, rather than buying an Obsidian Lite, I should have just paid the extra and bought the full Obsidian. I should have bought this saber in the first time round, really. I think that's the lesson I've learned. Don't be impetuous. Do your research. Figure out what it is you want. And if it turns out being a little bit more expensive than you were originally thinking, save. Always keep an eye on the deal of the days. Ultrasabers are always doing deals of the day or deals of the week, so there's always the chance that the saber you're waiting for, with the options you want, is going to come up in that. So, patience. Anyway, I hope this video has been informative and helpful. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about the internal options of the saber, and also that the Vader font is definitely a must if you're a Sith cosplayer, or a Sith duelist. If you just like Sith, get in on that. I'll put a link to the font, I'll put a link to EeRocKK's video that gives you the full breakdown on the font. It's also just worth checking out various other videos on his channel for all the different sound fonts he's done. And yeah, I'll be back with another video soon. And as this is a Star Wars video, rather than saying stay nerdy, although you should, I will simply say, may the Force be with you.